Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boards over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on, everybody? Turn 2 Terribles here. It is January 23rd, 2023. We welcome everybody in. We got a great show tonight. We got Justin Whittall and Devon Borden joining us tonight. Really excited to talk to these guys. But yeah, if this is your first time checking us out, please like, subscribe, follow. We got a lot of cool stuff on the way. Been doing a lot of cool stuff the past couple weeks here, and you guys are what makes us keep going. So we appreciate it. Jay-Z, Chris, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How's it going, buddy? It's good to have you back, Jimmy. Missed you last week, man. Hope things are good at home. Definitely, like I said, with thoughts and prayers with you and your family, and we're happy to have you back, man. Definitely add to the show here and keep us rolling. So, this is going to be awesome tonight. I'm excited. Follow along, listen in. If you're first time watching, go back and watch previous episodes. They're all linked here on the Facebook page and on the socials, wherever you might be watching from, all the major podcast platforms. Go check it out. Tell a friend. Join in, ask some questions, throw us messages, send requests to who you want to have on the show, and we'll try to dig around, use our contacts, and try to get them on here. We're gonna have Justin Whittall on first, and hopefully Devon later. Haven't heard from Devon today, so if he comes on, I'm definitely going to give him a hard time about answering his DMs. Whether he comes on or not, I'm going to give him a hard time about his DMs. So, what's going on, Chris? Love the hat, dude. What's going on there, bud?
Oh, it's a cool hat. Trying something out. It fits nice. I'm mostly personally happy that Jimmy's back because he does all the hard stuff, so I can just sit here and talk. So good to see you, buddy.
I appreciate
the shirt.
I appreciate everybody reaching out too. It was a tough couple of weeks, but I do appreciate everybody reaching out and all their support and everything. So much appreciated. But I do love the hat, man. The new logo and everything is so clean.
Wait, we have a new logo?
I think so. I think that's what it is.
Up in the corner. This new logo, shout out Billy Rowley.
Yeah.
Paints by the Tuna Can. He does a lot of our, as you can see behind me, this is Chris's iRacing sprint car. Billy Rowley does a lot of the graphic work for us. He's helped me out a lot personally with some things. The logo is pretty cool. It has obviously the turn 2, right? It's got a little curve in the second turn, if it was like an Indianapolis shaped track, and the microphone is integrated into the 2, and then the little sound wave is the sound wave of saying the word "Turn 2 Terribles." How cool is that?
Genius! It's the details. It's all in the details.
Like, I can't think of that.
An animal. Billy's an animal.
Evil genius,
Logo's
man.
Badass.
All
this hat is comfortable as hell. It's Justin Whittall time.
It's Justin Whittall time. So let's bring him on in. Justin, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
So everybody following along, we're going to have, there might be a little bit of a delay. I don't know if it's a delay on your end or not. Justin is here. He's live. He's good. Audio may not match video. I don't give a shit. Justin's here. He's going to talk about himself a lot. So if you've watched any of the previous episodes, Justin, I think we're kind of going to do the same thing for a lot of our guests. I want to know a little bit about your background, man, like kind of where you got started. Is your family in racing? What age did you get started? How did you get to where you're at today?
So my dad used to race before he had kids, and Well, he had my older brother and my older sister, and he sold the cars, some like Camaros and stuff like that. And he's had them. Mr. came along, he sold them, and he raced when I was younger until I got to 7. And one day after school, he took me to a quarter local to us, and he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I thought it was I said yeah. So that winter, we bought a car, put it together. Well, he was doing it at the time, and we got a car. Did rookie school? They had restrictor plates in the car and all that stuff, and I've been racing since I've been 7.
So moved up, and you got started when you were 7. Moved up, and what kind of the classes you went through to get to a 410? Kind of where did that timeline look like?
So from 7 to 11 and a half quarter midgets from all over the eastern side of the United States. Then we got a Ford Focus midget on asphalt, and I raced for about 3.5 years, 2 that time frame, and we sold that and got a 600 micro sprint 15, and did that for 2 years. 17, 18, we got a 360, I think, around that time frame. Racing sprint cars since then.
Okay, so well, you're not, you haven't been on Earth very long, so it's not very long, but if anybody's been in Central PA and they've seen you race and seen you the highs and lows, right? A little bit of everything. So you've kind of run the gamut as a young driver, and I think that's pretty common. Like, the guys that we talk to that listen, we don't have to tell them to slow down, right? They're going to have you're going to win some races by doing it that way, and you're going to lose some races, and you're going to crash in spectacular fashion sometimes, right? So I think you've kind of run the entire gamut of that. So tell us a little bit about your journey in a 410 and kind of like, what you've kind of what you learned, where you're at today. Where do you think you are as a driver in your career at this point?
I've definitely been lows of lows. I've probably been lows to lows, probably, but it's part of learning. You got to do it. Everybody has to go through it. I say I'm all right. I still think I need to learn a little more, be more aggressive on the track, information about the tracks, the car, a little better than I should be doing it.
So I think as I look at kind of watching you race here the last few years, I probably spend most of my time at Lincoln. But you've kind of been the Port Royal Williams Grove guy, which is okay in the last year or two. But I think this past season, I think I probably saw the most improvement from you on a consistent basis. Everyone has those nights. Everybody has those nights where things just don't go well. And that's part of racing. But I think this season, especially at Port Royal, you made some big strides. Like, what do you attribute some of that to?
I contribute that to myself working together, and then everybody that works on the car and helps me with the sponsors, my parents, my grandparents. We've been figuring some shit out. Need to be a little better. I figured some things out towards the end. Some things good, some things not good. Trying to get better with it.
So when you're trying to figure all that out, that can be a tall task, and you're trying to figure it out as a young guy, young team per se. So what kind of help do you have, like with your notebook, your car, the history, like crew chief wise? I mean, have you been kind of hooked up with a veteran crew chief, or is it kind of like you and the family and some buddies just kind of figuring it all out as you go?
Definitely have the crew chief. He's been around the scene. He sometimes wants to kill me for things I do on his toes. But I try. He deals with my crap, and tries to make. Though I try to drive the car as hard as I can. May not seem like it. Could probably do a little better, but we're working.
Okay, and who is your crew chief?
Weibly.
What was it?
Brandon Weibly.
Okay, got it. So I don't know his history a lot. Maybe he needs to come on the show so I can learn a little bit about Brandon. I know the Weibly name, if he's related to the Weibleys of Central PA racing in that scene. I assume so. I know that name for sure, but I don't know Brandon that well. So we might we'll put that on the list there, boys. We'll write that name down. Get crew chief time. We haven't had too many of those on yet. Well, Dakota. Does Dakota count as a crew chief?
No, Dakota does not count. We don't even mention his name. You've already said it once. No more times.
Okay, sorry. We won't bring that up. Justin knows who Dakota is. I know. So I think, right? Dakota Kuhn helps out Jordan Givler.
That's twice. Third time's Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay. The name not spoken.
Jordan Givler's a good guy, though.
We do like Jordan a little. So as I kind of look back and watch you come up through, I think for me, even before I got into photography this year, something that always jumped out to me is I spotted your car, and your car has always been one of the sharpest cars in Central PA from the jump, right? And like. Mm-hmm. We talked to Aaron Bollinger last week, and I think he's always had a good-looking race car. It's not flashy per se, but it's consistent, it's sharp, it's clean, and you think, man, that guy, they got the funding, they got the people. And I talked to Aaron, and he's got 2.5 people, and they just kind of do it on a whim each week and where they want to go, and that's okay. But it gives that perception of hey, we got our shit together, and not that you don't, but I've always said I could, as a fan, I spotted your car more than some other cars I've seen. Faster, if that makes sense. So, he gone. Hey, Chris, how's it going, man? It's good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you.
I'll tell you what.
There he is. He's back.
I got a call.
Oh, he might have the sleep.
No,
he might have the sleep timer like Mike Walter had.
No, he got a call. He got a call.
No, my old lady called.
Oh,
you want to talk to her? Do you want to talk to her on the show?
I'll call her back.
We can do that. We're mine might walk by here any minute. I don't know. So,
I'm gonna get my
your car stands out, and she didn't know you were doing this tonight.
Nope, I just hit the FU button.
Oh boy!
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Oh,
I hope we don't.
We have couches if you need one.
Yeah.
Maybe Mike Walter had to use one last week when he was.
Yeah, the baby cried for the whole show. I felt so bad. So, like I said, I've always spotted your car, so I've always kind of watched your journey a little bit, and it's like those nights where things are going well, man. You seem to be that aggressive, like get up after it, go after it, and then there's nights where it's just sort of like, hey, where you get what's happening tonight, right? So I think everyone has those moments, but I think that you've been this very contrast of great, you don't seem to have a lot of sixth place quiet finishes. You're either out to lunch, you wreck it, or you're winning the damn thing. And is something like consistency something that you think about and talk about? And I could be wrong on that, by the way.
I think we're losing
right
now.
We're losing JC now too.
We're losing JC right now. But basically, what he's saying is you're winning, like you did at Port Royal and last year at Williams Grove for your first win. That was cool to be there for that. That's also, side note, the only mini wing panel of a race winner that I do not have. So maybe you should work on that. No.
I think I have one left. I think I have one left of that car.
Of that red and black? I didn't even see them because that's the only one I'm missing. So we need to talk then. But
okay. I might have to use mine then.
Oh, we can probably talk to Billy. He'll make one.
Sure.
But he's saying as far as you're always making noise, right, one way or the other, and you're not just kind of lurking there. So kind of what goes into that? I think that's where Jay-Z was going.
Just consistency. Are you looking to get more consistent with that, or you just kind of win it or wear it, as they say?
I'd like to be more consistent, but sometimes I just get bored, and I tend to get out of my focus and try to do something that's spectacular, and then end up hurt myself and bending some crap up or screwing myself over and make myself look like a dumbass. But I try to be more consistent. Towards the end of the year, we started to get more consistent. Then I had the one buck up. But
Was that at Williams Grove by chance?
Yeah, I
Just
was
asking
gonna
for
say, is
friends.
that Williams Grove?
All right, we'll come back to that. Continue on.
But yeah, it was definitely. I'm trying to work on being consistent more. That's what I want to be at the track, more consistent, do better, and try to be all around a top 10 to 5 driver. I want to win as a plus, but I want to be consistent.
And I personally think you've succeeded in that. Especially towards the end of the year, we were talking like Port Royal. You were just off the podium at the Score 50 and the World of Outlaws show. Like you're there, right? And that's step one to winning is being there. More so than I remember in other years, consistently in that 5 to 10 range. And I think in my opinion, you achieved that goal a little bit.
Honestly, my goal for those shows was just to make the feature.
Right.
I wasn't expecting to be doing that.
Makes it even sweeter, though.
Yeah. You finished 5th in Port Royal points, so I think that goes to show, you found that consistency, especially at Port Royal. I mean, you have a win at Williams Grove, but maybe not as consistent at Williams Grove. What is it about Port Royal that maybe has been suiting you better? Or is it just bad luck at Williams Grove? Or
I love all the tracks, but they hate me, so it's a love-hate. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to it, but
I love that answer.
I love all the tracks. I don't know. I just for some reason I really love Port Royal. It may not seem like it on some days, but I love the track. I think the facility's great. Somewhat miss the old track, like not being as dry slick, but it still makes for great racing.
Do you tend to consider yourself like a big track fan versus short tracks, or is it just sort of what you've developed into? Like, hey, I do well here, so I'm gonna stick with it.
I like the big tracks. I wish I did more small tracks. Like two years ago, I went to East Bay, and I thought that place was fun, but I sucked. But I thought it was a blast.
So at Williams Grove, we talk to a lot of guys, and over the years, you've heard these stories about just how technical and difficult it is. Even though it looks like you just turn really hard twice and you drive down these long ass straightaways. Have you found that to be true as far as just the difficulty racing in a 410 in traffic or just navigating it on your own?
Yeah, Williams Grove is very difficult on the track. Like the Outlaw show where I had to screw up. We were quick in hot laps, and then time trials came around, and I just sucked, and it put me behind the 8 ball after that. And then the heat race, I was just in the back and sucking. I was in my head and made a dumb move and ended up in the wall, and just dumb. Just the track's very difficult, especially when it's locked down the first heat race, and it's fast and like a heavy track. It's difficult, but it's fun. I think it's fun.
Would you say it's your favorite track?
No.
Damn you.
I like Lincoln more than.
Wow.
And I don't
just like that.
You were talking about that screw up at Williams Grove a little bit, and you walked away with an injury there. You had a bruised lung, am I correct?
Yes.
How are you feeling now? And do you have any like lingering effects or anything, or everything good?
No, I'm fine. Just another day.
Another day. It's good race car drivers, man. Like, just a little bruise on my lung. It's another day. It's fine.
Is my microphone better right now?
Your microphone's fine, but now Justin's got a cough from his shoulder again. We're good.
We're good.
I don't have sound now.
It's starting to come together, guys.
Wait, he can't.
I'll fix my mic for next week on the other one.
Justin has no sound.
While you can't respond and do anything, I want to talk about the fight. Oh,
he's coming back. He's coming back. He's here.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
He's back. He's back.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
That was the old lady again.
Oh no!
You better send an email or
you might want to
or
send
something,
a text
buddy.
or something.
Time to send a text, bud.
I may have to.
All right.
You could send her the link and she could watch it, so she could prove that you're not doing
Yeah,
anything
that's true.
nefarious.
We'll corroborate for you.
Yeah, I think there's live footage of where you're at right now.
Can
We can
confirm
prove
you
it.
are in a very safe space.
Can confirm. All right, so we're gonna bring up the.
We cannot confirm now.
Hold on.
Oh, she's calling again.
He might be texting. Let him.
He may
let
be
him-
talking.
This could be fine.
No, I was
She-
texting her. I'm good.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
All right,
That's the
so we're
spirit.
gonna bring up the small elephant in the room, and I'm just gonna get into it. And
You mean the
shame
one that
on you.
Justin
This
brought up?
is your own fault. Because I forgot about this. I watched this on Flow that night, and I forget where I was or what I was doing, and I'm like, "Are they fighting? Is that Tyler Ross and wait? Why are they fighting?" Okay, I want to know. Listen, I don't know if y'all are friends. You're not friends. You still hate each other. I don't care about any of that. What the hell happened to get to this point that night?
So early on in the race, I went for a hole and on the bottom going into one, under Tyler. And when I hit the bottom, I got a little too tight and I slid up the track and fed him I didn't mean to feed him a right rear, but he hit my right rear. And the races went on. He's still behind me. And a caution came out. And under caution, he's beating on my back bumper, beating on the back bumper, beating on the back bumper. And on a restart, I get away from him. I'm racing. And then all of a sudden, my nose wing claps. Yellow comes out. I pull into the pits. I think my nose wing collapsed. Something like that happened. And I was starting in the rear, and I made my way up towards the end of the race. And he was running 11th at the time, I believe. And I just got around him going into one again. And as I got around him, he tried turning down on me and taking me out. But he ripped the front wing panel off of his car, so the caution came out. And on the restart, going into one, I slid up. He got by me, but I crossed him over going down the backstretch. And entering three, he just drove straight through me.
Oh.
So
okay.
I was a little mad, and when I got out, I jumped on his hood multiple times, and then
We
Allegedly.
went from there.
It could have been Chad Trout, though, from what we heard.
Yeah.
where Tyler at? But
I mean, yeah, it was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was so much about that whole incident that was just like, what is going on between Bruce not knowing who was even at the racetrack or on Earth at that point, and you actually fighting someone on the track, and you and Tyler rolling like it was chaos, and it was awesome. So I don't love it. Don't want to wreck race cars.
The
Right.
best
Well, listen,
part
it's
was
emotions,
being at Williams
right?
Grove that night and not even knowing it was happening. Like, we knew the incident happened. We did not know because I stand right turn 3, no idea this is going down until they're all in Discord. We're like, what the hell? I'm like, dude, I'm right here. I don't see shit. Like, good times.
So definitely not your finest moment. You regret that even happening, right? So are you and Tyler good now? You've talked it out?
After that, the rest of the year, we were kind of like magnets next to each. Like we would always
Of course.
kind of collide, but towards the end of the year, we kind of just stayed away from each other. I mean, or I guess we're all right. I mean, I don't really talk to the guy. I'm assuming.
You guys didn't have a friendship before that. You were just racers. Just
Just
So
kinda-
I'd like it.
Hey, what's up? And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think either of you are unfriendly people. I mean, you all have connections in the pits, but sometimes it's just one of those things. So we talked a little bit about just sort of pre-show there. We were talking about paint schemes, and that picture that we had up preview as we were kind of coming in there, that picture I got at Port Royal.
Mhm.
And like, I probably could have taken, 3,000-4,000 photos of your car this year, but at some point I actually stopped taking photos of your car because I'm like, I can only do so many pictures of your car everywhere I go. And I'm like, it's like one of the better, to me, it was the top 5 scheme of the whole year for me. And are you changing it? Are you keeping the same? Can you spoil anything? You don't have to tell me any details. And if you say no at this point, I'm okay with no. And if you surprise us at some point, I'm okay with that.
For right now, for the beginning of the season, we're gonna keep it the same as last year's, but in the middle-ish of the season, we may change it to something else. But I'm not 100% sure yet. I got to work with Ryan on that, but we may change it to something else.
Okay. last thing for me, and I have Jimmy and Chris here waiting. I know they have questions. So one thing I like to always, I think I'm going to ask this every week, and I like this question a lot. And last week, I think the other
You
week
gonna
it
steal
stumped
my question
somebody.
again?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay.
No, I'm not going to do it this time. I can't read your mind, but I'm not going to do it. Aside from the Williams Grove incident, that question didn't prompt this question. But one driver that you love racing with, and a driver that you just hate racing with. Not that you hate the person, but you just difficult to
gnat.
race around, hard to pass, difficult to stay in front of, whatever the case may be. One of each.
And for the record, my two are in the call with us. One coaching advice.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. Well, Cheesy, I can't catch you, and Jimmy, I can't pass you. So, Justin, you're up.
I like Danny Dietrich.
You
As
like
a person
racing,
or
Danny? Okay.
Racing.
Racing with Danny Dietrich.
He's a good guy.
And the kid that's coming on.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Race around. Okay.
Let's go.
I love it. I love this question. I got to be honest. I might have found something here.
This
I
is
just
definitely-
stumbled upon this. And listen, and when we talk about those things, there's going to be people for sure that we have on here that are going to be like, well, I don't like him. I don't like racing around him. I don't need to be personal, right? It's just on the racetrack when you get around somebody, it's that one person you're like, son of a bitch. I either can't get by them or they're, super aggressive and taking away my stuff. So, and that's okay. Well, Aaron Bollinger last week, right, was Troy Wagaman and Freddie.
He loved racing.
Troy.
I agree with Aaron on that.
And Freddie was the other one. And Mike, who'd he say?
I don't know if we asked him that.
No,
one.
we
I might have
decided
broke
not
that
to.
out for the first time with Aaron, honestly.
Well, I think Mike answered the question pre-show, so we'll talk about that later.
No, oh yeah, he did.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. Listen,
that's
Port Royal
another story.
guys,
We'll
man,
tell you,
y'all
Justin.
got the Port Royal boys got some beef with each other, my guy. Like I never thought of it. So
Justin knows the answer. I'm thinking based on what Michael was saying to us as their friends, he knows the answer.
I know the
so
answer.
we'll leave it where it's at.
Probably. So, yeah, Chris, Jimmy, what do you got?
Well, Jimmy, I think a good question from Sean there in the chat.
What do you do for a living? Says comes from Sean Donnelly on Facebook. Thanks for asking, Sean.
I used to be a diesel mechanic. I worked in Westchester for A. Dewey Pyle for a couple years. Then I worked for Mid-Atlantic Transportation as a diesel tech, and then now I'm working for the old man, and he wants to probably kill me and get rid of me. But, yeah,
that's awesome.
Now I work for my dad at an auto body shop.
Cool. Thank you, Sean, for that question.
Yeah, shout out to Sean too. Almost every week, they're here watching the show. So thank you for that.
My question is we talked a little bit about paint scheme. What does your schedule look like? Are you going to do basically kind of the same thing, or we know high limit's a thing that's out there that people are really talking about and stuff like that. Are you looking at doing any more traveling? What's 2023 looking like for you?
In the off season, we were thinking about maybe going to Knoxville a couple times and maybe the Eldora Million, but that's up in the air. But we're going to be doing the same thing. Maybe trying to go. Well, since Logan's not racing up, well, he's going to be racing at Port Royal, which is limited schedule. We're going to go try to get that title from Logan.
Awesome. That's cool to hear.
Hell yeah. Oh man, it's gone. I had something that was going to be super good. I promise.
Are you looking at running Williams Grove 2 weekly?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Did you run all of Speed Week last year?
No.
Are you?
You have plans to do that? Is that something you ever want to entertain? That's a long week.
We did it one year, and it was just my dad and I, and our crew guys had work, my crew guys had work, but I think this year they're gonna take off work so we can do the full thing, but I'm not sure.
Nice. I remember my question now. So are you in Jersey or are you in PA?
Jersey.
You're in Jersey. So, did you do 360s? You said you ran 360 a little bit before 410, right?
Yes.
So did you kind of did you go URC route? Were you in URC or just
in URC?
And how was that experience for you?
It was great. The traveling was fun. Some of the tracks were questionable, but I liked the traveling was fun. It was different, nice to be at different tracks, but being at the same tracks, getting good notes, being consistent at tracks, I like that better. But I like the traveling. It was fun.
Yeah. And if is that a goal for you eventually? Is to, as you progress, you mature, you're winning races, build a team to go out on the road and do a lot more of that?
I don't know.
What if Dad fires you? Do you have the free time?
Looks like I'm kicking rocks if Dad fires me. Enough to give me a ride.
This is either Chris or Chris. I'm not going to steal your question here at the end
You're
about
trying.
that. I was going. I'm not doing it. Are you an iRacer?
That wasn't my question.
Yes, but I don't play it as much.
Yeah, I think I remember you on when Port first came out.
Well, you should definitely come play.
I suck.
So do I. It's fine.
So do we.
I'm a filler.
We are too. Depending on the league, I guess, right? So all of us can be at times.
I'm really good at practices.
Practices, you're an idiot. Are you a fan of any other types of racing outside of what we do, and a NASCAR guy, a drag racing guy?
Used to like NASCAR, but I like thing a little bit. My one good friend does it. I like Formula One. So, that's like all types of racing. NASCAR.
As you've gotten into 410s, sounds like your path. Did you race? Were there guys that you raced with weekly that you raced in 600s with weekly?
I used to race with Aaron Bollinger, Dylan Norris. I think that's it. That's in 410s. Most of the kids I raced with either went to the modified route I raced with from New Jersey, went the modified route, or in 600s or the wingless 360 deal.
So when you're a 600, you're doing your micro thing, and you're a young guy, you ever see somebody and be like, man, they're not gonna do well here, and then you see guys also that you're like, wow, they're special, like other than yourself, right? Do you ever have those moments where you kind of not compare yourself, but like, holy crap, I'm gonna have to race against this guy forever?
Yeah, I thought Aaron, when he was racing 600s, he was very well. I thought he'd do fairly good or good in a sprint car. And once I saw him get a sprint car, I was actually kind of happy to race against him.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, we experienced this together. Now, go race and compete there and grow together. So, my wife's looking at me. I think she just tried to dial me. Maybe it's my turn. She's giving me a look. I don't know what's happening right now.
Jay-Z's on live television.
As you bought a 410, what did you learn the most when you went up there? Like, you were in a 360, you had some URC experience, but when you jumped into 410 and you come race against these guys, which you kind of know our area. I mean, it's not like New Jersey's far away. What was like your big wow moment? Did you have one of those when you got out there?
Yeah, the 410s are way different from a 360. Just the power. Like, it might not seem like much, but the power just makes everything. Then how the car reacts and the air from another car, it's absurd. Like Brock Zierfoss, I talked to him. He said going from a 410 to 360 is like slow-mo. Like, the car is just effortlessly, like, you can hit your points and stuff. That's why, like, most of the guys, like Gio Scelzi, when he won the Knoxville Nationals for the 360s, or not Knoxville Nationals, but the 360 Nationals, he goes out there before and does the 360 Nationals, and then it warms him up for the Knoxville Nationals. That's why a lot of guys do that.
They go back. So do you get into 360 anymore?
I wish I did. I sold all. I regret selling one motor, the one motor I had, but we sold our motors to Blake Hahn.
Well, that's a good one to sell them to, I'd imagine. He puts them to good use.
I'm fairly good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, when URC comes to Port Royal, I think you'd be that one of those guys, the double duty kind of deal, and I think, you do well with that. As good as you are in the 410 here lately, and honestly, whenever URC comes to Port Royal, you're seeing more and more guys, Macri and some of those guys go down and get into that 360 and obviously do well. Ryan Taylor does well in a 360.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice little springboard, and I think at Port Royal, I mean, I think you'd kick ass there, to be honest with you, as good as you are in a 410.
Yeah, I wish I had a 360 to do like the Port Royal, the Grove races. Macri does it. I wish I could do it, but don't have a motor. But I think it would be fun.
You going to Florida?
I'm going to Disney first for a little bit with the old lady, and then I'm going to go watch in Volusia. I'm not going to race, sadly.
It's still cool to be down there.
What do you gotta do to get? What do you gotta do to get that done? I mean, one less day at Disney.
No.
She'll kill you.
Maybe
After you hang up on her twice and you text her, and now she's gonna watch this. She's gonna kill you. You're welcome, Justin. That's what we're here for.
My crew guys have a bet that she's going to kick my ass sooner or later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you're amongst friends here at that point, because Jimmy's going to get stabbed in his sleep
Probably.
for sure one day.
100%.
And Chris, I don't know. He just might be just disappeared, and Chris will be like, I haven't seen her. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a fair chance that she kills me too. It's fine. I probably deserve it. So, Justin, my question: so we go back to your first 410 win was Williams Grove in 21, correct?
Yes.
What do you remember of that night? That win, right? Like what?
What I remember about that night is.
Did you start pole? Say no.
Yeah, I started
on pole. Son of a bitch.
It's Williams Grove. You know he did.
I know he did. I was there.
It was a lockdown heavy track. I think it was raining.
Of course it was.
The day before, it's a lockdown heavy track, and then it was just I started on the pole. I started second in my heat race and won it, and then started on the pole and led every lap. But the last couple laps, W link broke, so Kyle Moody was catching me. Yeah, and then I did donuts and then parked it on the front stretch, and then Kyle Moody tried to get me disqualified because I didn't go to the scales.
Did not know that part.
Yeah,
that's spicy. No, from obviously sitting in there on just past the bridge, I saw you win, and it was your first win and everything like that. Did not know about the other stuff. That's fun. So which one was bigger, that win or the Port Royal win this year?
Port Royal.
Which one? No, okay.
Yeah.
Which race did you win at Port? What night was it?
It was the last race at Port Royal with the modifieds. It was the Labor Day makeup.
Yeah.
That's right.
They counted it as Labor Day. I'll see. I don't know.
Hey,
I really
counts.
I don't count it as Labor Day. I count Labor Day as in the day.
That's right.
Track.
When everybody's
official
there.
stat sheet says Labor Day.
Yeah.
Is this like a Brock Zierfoss National Open? Is that?
Okay, that's still a National Open, buddy.
Was that the one that was
the National Open?
Or no, was that Cody Dara? Who was the one that won it like when it was delayed and nobody was in town? Do you remember that?
It was not Cody Dara. It was no. I don't remember that, but I do know what you're talking about.
There was a Natty Open one year that like they ran it.
So it's kind of Tuscarora 50 they ran a few years ago when the Outlaws sanctioned it.
Yeah.
I remember
so,
that. And then Logan no. Who was running the 49 car at the time? I think it was
Schaefer?
Tim Schaefer.
Yeah.
Tim Schaefer lost a right rear wheel and Logan ran it over.
Yeah, that was nasty.
So
that was a nasty wreck.
Oh no. Justin, you're in real trouble now.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Front of the show here.
Sold out.
You're in trouble now because she's watching. Thanks.
Well, at least again we can confirm that he is very much in a safe space.
All right, so I'm going to throw you a softball. What do you like to do outside of racing? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
I like to drive my car. That's about it.
What do you have?
A GT 350.
Really, a year?
What year? 2018.
18. What color?
Gray.
The avalanche gray or the lithium gray, the flat gray?
The metallic. I think it's called metallic gray.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I got you. Stripes? No stripes.
No stripes.
No stripes. Okay. I'm good with that.
I see you.
All right. Listen, I work at a Ford store and I bought a Mustang this past year, so I'm a big Ford guy. So I can appreciate that. And I gave you a softball to say, spend time with my girlfriend Coral, but you didn't take it. I just put it on a tee for you to and
Okay,
nothing
well
here.
now
so.
you just
swinging a miss. Swinging a miss. All the
you
time.
straight knocked him out now.
Sorry,
So
Coral. We're
Disappointment. I
sorry
know.
for
Oh,
this.
disappointment.
Are you doing the icebreaker?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Hey, we're gonna at least see
Why?
one car there.
Why they made it 2 days, I don't know. I think it's stupid in my opinion.
I agree.
right, so let's go off of that too. The Dirt Classic being 2 days now as well. What are your thoughts on that? Because that kind of a little bit affects Port Royal. Maybe.
I don't think we may do the Dirt Classic. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure.
I think we haven't really got into this. We've been having guests and haven't talked, but I think it's a good time to think about this. Like, if you look at Williams Grove and you look at Port Royal, they have a lot of multi-day shows and throughout their season, right? And the Williams Groves, most when the Outlaws are in town, where they have Summer Nationals, Morgan Cup, National Open. What 2-day show does Lincoln Speedway ever run?
Right. They don't.
I didn't even think about that.
None. So why do you think this is a thing this year? I bet, hey, this is our weekend, right? This is our thing. Whether it's the icebreaker, I think that all of us as drivers and racers, you're like, man, okay, against your will, right? If you're going to go, nobody loves it unless it's 65 and you got something to race on. But really, the icebreaker racetrack's been better the last couple of years than a few years previous, where it was just awful. But anyway, I digress. But Lincoln doesn't have that event. They have the Outlaw show on a Wednesday. Their Dirt Classic was a 1-day deal. That's kind of their thing. Their Speed Week shows are usually pretty decent, but they've never done the 2-day thing. So for me, I looked at that and went, well, okay, I could see why. The Icebreakers, it's their thing, right? They're their Northeast opener in a sense of like, hey, we're the first one around. So it makes sense to me. But I think as we move forward with schedules, I think you're going to see more and more of that from like a Lincoln to kind of do like, the Labor Day weekend, the Williams Grove double days. They kind of have the 2-day deal there and hopefully get the car count. So it makes sense to me, but the Dirt Classic one is kind of their thing, but also diving into when they change the time and where time of the year with the Port Royal thing is definitely going to be kind of an interesting dynamic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
With Port Royal and Lincoln kind of competing this past couple seasons for cars, both tracks have done well. Like neither track has really hurt for cars, but when you have a big show like that and there's money involved, I think it's going to create, it could, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Right, because the Dirt Classic going to 2 days, that would overlap with
Fair
the
opener.
Fair Opener, which was basically a late model show last year. So there's a way they both can win here. It's just a matter of, do they want to go that route? I don't know.
And do the teams?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you said you're trying to chase that title,
right, you have to go to
you're
Port
gonna
Royal.
have to go to Port Royal, am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to take it from Mikey.
So,
go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, speaking of like Port Royal, like obviously Logan Wagner's been the guy there the last 5. Is it 5 in a row now? Was it 4?
Yes.
Right. So, what do you have to do, in your opinion, to beat him? I guess other than showing up every week. Showing up every week is key one.
Yeah, don't do dumb shit. Put myself in bad positions. Just stay on my game and talk to my crew chief more. Watch the track and try to give him better information about how the car is, how the track, how it was on certain parts of the track, and try to keep up on my toes and keep him on his toes.
Right. So, I mean, I think the back quarter of the season, obviously you won there and we're running well. So, how much is that experience going to help you, go into the next season? I think it's going to maybe close that gap a little bit. And you keep building year to year. That's clearly a good thing. So,
yeah, well, I'll see. We'll see. Coming this season, we're starting out with new cars. Unfortunately, the ones I've
shit talk from the Walters now. The Walter clan. You got.
Says, remember, we pit beside you. You ain't taking anything.
I'm guessing Rob's got something to do with this. It's gonna be tough. You and Mike Walter. Oh man,
he's a good buddy of mine.
I know, he's a good guy. I don't know who to root for anymore.
Oh,
that's your choice, not mine.
I guess we have to get both shirts.
Are you a time trial guy, or would you rather just kind of pill draw and handicap?
I like both, unless unless it's group time trials, and I absolutely hate it.
Really?
So Port Royal.
Interesting.
The webs here, man. Just
Why don't? What's
surprising us.
the reasoning against group time trials? Just curious.
Because Port Royal started to get better with it, putting less cars out on the track. But they'll put a bunch of cars out on the track, and you take time, and then you're up to speed, and then you get stuck behind a slower car, and then your lap's screwed.
Right.
You have to pass them.
That makes sense.
Or lay back, and then you don't get a lap, or your laps are all just slow, and then you start in the back of your heat race.
Awesome. So that's interesting. That makes sense. I never really thought of that. So just before we really get you out of here, obviously your partner stuff. What race, if you had to pick, do you really want to win?
Over all of them.
The Waker.
The Waker? Oh, back-to-back weeks.
I like that. Yeah.
Obviously, your buddy Mike.
How do you
Walter
feel
said
about
the same thing? It's not
I
about the bullhead, man.
I just want
The bullhead. 2 weeks in a row. That's awesome. I appreciate that. The Waker. I mean, it's growing and it's cool. It's a cool trophy and
Weichert over to 50?
See,
Is it the trophy that makes the difference?
yes.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I
Two
like
for the Waker.
I like the 50, but I like the Waker. It goes Waker, 50, Nationals, and now the Eldora.
Where's the National
I
Open
mean,
at,
$1 million
buddy?
makes you like it a little better, right? It pushes it up the list.
Where's the National Open at?
Nationals? Oh, the
It's
Knoxville.
down.
It's down, buddy. You're gonna make
So-
Justin cry.
Justin,
Let's
we're
say
gonna fight.
let's say you had a competing any night, Friday night 410 racetrack. Would you give it the opportunity to not go to Williams Grove?
Like a Sealands Grove?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would. I'd go to Sealands Grove over the Grove.
Yeah. And that's preference. I mean, there's nothing, again, Williams Grove is difficult and love it, hate it, whatever.
It
But
has a bridge.
it's the Friday night thing, right? So I think we're just used to it. Like Saturday's always had competition.
Mhm.
Friday night really had a regular competition in the 410 division.
If Lernerville was closer, I'd go out to Lernerville.
Oh, don't say that.
I tried to
Justin apparently loves chaos. Basically, is what I've learned here.
Listen, we have an iRacer buddy who is so everything Lernerville, and he lives out that way. So like that's his home track. So he defends it to the end. I can't do it. I
It's
can't.
gonna be like
I can't-
6 hours for you, Justin. Why would you do that?
That's why he's not doing it.
Yeah.
If you had it up to you, would you run Western PA Speed Week, or would you want to do all of our PA Speed Week?
I'd like to try Western PA Speed Week. How good I do? Probably not, but I'd like probably do all PA Speed Week.
All right, man. We're gonna get you out of here. Appreciate your time. Tell us a little bit. Thank some sponsors, people that help you out, get you up and down the road, even if it's not a short, long haul, just around the road here. But who helps you out with the car?
My mom, my dad, Mid Atlantic Transportation, JG Cronenberger, Enterprise Rental Car. Probably forgot Red Point Wealth Partners, my girlfriend Coral.
Hey.
I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Well, you got Coral, so that's the important one. You won't.
Yeah, that's the most important one.
So here's what you do. If you forgot them right now, that's okay. When you win this season, come back on a Monday, talk about the win. You can thank them all.
All right. Thank you for
All
having
right. We'll do that. Awesome,
Thank you so
Justin.
much.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Justin, thank you.
Take care, man. Good luck this year.
Awesome talk with Justin there. We're going to be right back in about 3-4 minutes.
Just
here.
enough to fill this up. That's
Just
all we need.
enough. And we'll be right back with Devon Borden. We are back. Thanks again to Justin Whittall. Awesome time sitting down with him. We're going to bring another young rising star in the Pennsylvania scene here from Raymond, Washington,
Whew.
originally, Mr. Devon Borden. Devon, welcome to the show, man. Appreciate Good. I appreciate you guys joining us. Go ahead, JC. Sorry.
No. Hey, dude, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. Got done working out, and I'm actually moving out of my apartment here, moving up to house. Just trying to work on all that and getting ready for race season.
Cool.
Oh, so you're busy. You're just you're not bored, huh?
No.
All right, so I told him, I said, whether you show up or not, I'm going to give you shit for being one of the hardest people to get a hold of on social media, even though you're on social media. I need a better way to contact you, so when we're done, I'm going to share contact info, because now that we actually are doing something important versus me just shooting photos for people or of people, I need a way to get a hold of you, because when you win this season, I'm going to have you back again, and we're gonna sit down and chat a little more. So I'm going to have to get your number when we're done here.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, for sure.
All right, dude. So welcome in. I'm going to this has been a trend, because we're learning as much about all of you guys as everybody else, and our guests and viewers. And we've had some veteran guys on here, and we've had some young guys, but at the same time, not everybody knows everybody's history a little bit. And so we want to gain new fans for you and get you out there even more. And that's hopefully, while we grow, we could do that for you guys. So tell us a little bit about your background, man. Like, I know Raymond, Washington, it's one of those weird, like, Unum Washington, and some of these like West Coast towns that are you just know their hometown. You memorize them, right? Like,
Right.
your hometown. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing and your family history in racing, if any, and how did you get here?
Yeah, so I'm a third generation racer. My grandpa and dad lives, and they pretty much just race locally, like at Grays Harbor. They'd hit some stuff in California and Oregon, and basically I really got back here or had the funds to travel. So they're coast and did the best with what they had. And my dad, I met when I was 6 months old. Little fun fact, and so like he knew. When I was 3, my grandpa built a track in his later, got a track, and actually started testing, like practicing in his back, and then I started racing when I was 5 at the starting quarter midgets. So yeah, I started just raced locally on the dirt track, and back when mainly the biggest in asphalt. So I was like 8, I got into that, won a lot of races, and got to even go back to like the little brickyard in Indianapolis, and just kind of went as far as we could with that, and then some micro sprints, same thing, kind of just racing on the West Coast. My dad, around that time, my dad quit racing because he just got to the point where so he chose to just keep racing with me. My dad actually sold everything off and kept one. That roller was the roller that I started racing in, sprint car and engine, and traded that for a 360, and that was the car that I started in. So the same kind of thing, just raced on the West Coast as much as we could. My first year, quite a bit of stuff. Was really fast. Just wasn't super. Just trying to get the feel for it, I guess you could say. And won won 8 races and won the championship, and was really good. The following year was actually, gosh, what was that? I think it was last year? think it was last year. Yeah. So we got on the ASCS National Tour, kind of geared up enough to do that. Was basically traveling on that. Well, that's when we came into Pennsylvania because of in Selinsgrove. Well, Don Ott, my dad, kept in touch during the whole time because that's who did all my dad's engines back home. When kind of had the connection there, and Don said to come on in a couple weeks early, and come in a couple weeks early. So that's he had a 410, and that's kind of where I got started here. I guess was good enough to 7 car, and now the 23. So excited for this coming year.
So that whole journey to now is quite a whirlwind, I'm sure. Like when you came into Central PA and kind of that connection with Don and strap a 410, and did you ever expect in literally a million years that it would go like it did?
No, times laying in bed at night, it's like, holy crap, like that's crazy. Like 2 years ago, I was a guy on the West Coast who no one had ever heard of, and like, out there, but like was nobody. I didn't even drove a 410, like just a 360 guy who was nobody, and not that I'm somebody now to go, but like I feel like I'm at least on the map and in the racing, like
Yeah,
I
I
never would
mean,
have thought I'd be
Right,
here
you're
this
posse
quick.
now, buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No
yeah, I
doubt.
mean, I think, I talked to the guys about it a little bit in Discord chat that we have, and I remember, there was that weekend, whatever, but I was sitting at Babs that weekend and saw your car out in the back pit area, Blake Hahn, and you guys were back there. I'm pretty sure in the very far back against the woods, and
Yeah.
pretty plain car, all black. What was the number on that? 28?
8? I think it was just 8, right?
Just 8. Yeah.
Just 8.
Just 8.
So just 8, plain car, and you go out in that heat race, and you I think Brent passed you, and you passed Brent back, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I was
Like,
there for this past race. It was badass as hell. Like,
I think I was sitting with Kyle Keene on the backstretch and somebody else. We were just sitting there watching, and I'm like, what's happening? Wait a minute. Okay. That's impressive. We'll go to the feature, and you did the same thing in the feature, and it was super impressive. And I was like, is that a 410 or a 360 in that car? Sitting there, I'm an idiot. I'm a fan. I don't know shit. And I'm like, either way, it's impressive. Either way, and I'm like, that's 410. There's no way on this earth.
Where'd you finish that race? Was it?
What?
Where'd you finish in that race? Was it? It was top 5, right? You were up there.
We were running 4th and broke with 1 to go.
Yeah. So,
but it was kind of that
for me, and
race that. Yeah.
It was that race that did it for you.
I mean, it was that. Sorry, it was kind of that race that kind of, I guess, turned my. Recognized it was actually that race that kind of, I guess, started everything. After that, I started getting calls to try different cars, etc., and just kind of turned into.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I remember that race. I was like, holy hell, who's this guy? And it was like, next thing you know, within it was like 3 weeks almost, within the month anyway, you're in the 27, and this is how I remember it. You were saying you weren't going back on the tour; you were staying here, and it was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, we pretty much had that. Like it was that year. Like I pretty much had that year, which was last year. Yeah, or not make it. Like my dad was never have a rent car team. It was like, look, but
right.
You got you everything I got to go make this happen, and was going to be the way to go with the 360s. But I knew I had to get into some 410 stuff. Just all worked out really well. So the deal with Don and they put in a 410 in our car and stuff. It just all worked out. And
So, Devin, real quick, I'm going to interrupt Jimmy. Devin, I'm going to have you hit the leave button and just come right back in with the link. Your audio and video are a little bit off sync. If the top right corner, hit that leave button and just redo that link to try to come in here. It's hard. I don't want to interrupt you while you're talking, and it's hard to match up the audio and the video together. I don't want to interrupt you, buddy.
Yeah, just leave.
Okay.
We haven't had much luck tonight, but it's starting to iron itself out.
Yeah, Justin had the same problem for most of it.
We've been pretty lucky here the last few weeks, last bunch of weeks of this. So, all right, hopefully that's a little bit better. So with the connection, you get into 410s, you get these opportunities, you get all these calls. Like, I don't need to know names, but ballpark, how many calls did you get for guys for you to come drive their car?
Anything crazy? I mean, there's probably 3 or 4, you know. I mean, but really, I was just kind of waiting for the right deal, and deal came along. That's when when I came in here, like I knew there was a couple really good rides, you know, and that's what to do. So I actually kind of just held tight on a and was just trying to wait for the right deal, and and you know, at that point I was in.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to that one for sure. And I think that a lot of people around here were kind of like, what's going on with that deal, and you know, where's it headed? And it kind of like I think almost all of Central PA was like, well, that makes sense. Like the timing and you coming along at the right time, and everybody was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah.
What was your, so you get in 27 and you go out there and you start racing. Did you have an aha moment like, holy shit, I'm doing this? Did you have that moment at any point in the car, out of the car, standing by the car, in a pit area anywhere?
It's like it all happened so quick. Like within the span of like 3 weeks, I went from being a nobody to being pretty well known, or like I really got on the map, you know, like I got the recognition, and I guess you could say there was, I don't know if you could say there was hype on it, but there
was hype on it, buddy. There was hype.
I was really starting to get my Twitter like a freaking mile long. Like I never had that before, you know, like finally get somewhere, which was really a dream come true. Like it's what I've been working, like being a kid, like wanting to be here and make all. It's pretty crazy.
So when you get in the ride, you have that moment, you know, it always happens so fast. Didn't you also, during that time of like joining the team and getting going, didn't you also have to go home for graduation?
Yeah. So,
in the middle of or across the country?
Yeah. So I'm like 8 races, or like 6 or here in the 8 car, my own car, and then I had to go home and graduate from high school. It was actually on that trip home was when I got to come drive his car. It is only a 3-race deal is what it started at. It's a 3-race deal at Williams Grove, Lincoln, and ran 5th at the Grove, ran 21st, and ran like 8th to 3rd at Path Valley, and that was good enough. He called me on the way home. Hey, I think you're going to be a new full-time guy.
That's awesome.
You know? But I knew there's a possibility I ran well enough, and I mean I didn't run great, top 5, and more than anything, I think that, you know, I mean I was, you know, hard on the gas and I think that they like that. So I definitely drove hard, and I think that's what kind of got me there.
Speaking of hard on the gas, because one thing that really turned my head with you, I believe you were in the 8 car, and one of your first races out here was against the Outlaws at Williams Grove. Am I right? Or was it the All Stars?
Yes, it was Williams Grove. Yes.
And I remember I was in 1 and 2 at the time, and it was a slick, wide track, guys running all over the place, and you were back, and maybe like you were coming from the back, and you're coming towards the top 10. I could always tell where you were, because you had that shit pinned up on the top, and I could hear you just screaming around the top, and I could hear him. I'm like, damn, man, that was impressive. So you definitely were making a lot of waves that week, I would say.
You know what's funny about that, Jimmy? Go ahead.
I knew that to have any shot was to freaking turn everyone's heads and to do it. So like I knew I had to be I knew I had to be a wild man, pretty much, you know. It's the only way to get attention, you know, and to get I guess that's kind of what I did, and I don't know. I guess it worked.
It definitely worked, and I love the fact it was a conscious decision. Like, you know what, I'm gonna do this because it's wild, and they're gonna be watching.
Yeah, and you weren't just wild, man. Like you were passing cars. You were moving forward with it too. So it's
right.
You had the perfect balance there to turn enough heads.
So when you're in Washington, did you have the same driving style out there? When it was your own stuff?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was always kind of like that. I knew I had to be like that out here to get any opportunities. Yeah, I mean, I was always like that. Yeah, I was always like that.
Well, it's funny Jimmy said that, and like, there's a few times this year, and I think I even made a TikTok at one point. And I'm like, there's the top line, and then there's the Borden line. And it's at you at Lincoln in the Outlaw show, where like Gio was on the top, or no, who was in the 71 at the time?
Buddy
was in the 71. I think he was like near the front, and he ran the top. And then like a second later, you come around there, and there's like the Borden top, and it was like he was already up there, and I'm like, holy shit, how is there wasn't more track left there. So that was like one of my moments. I'm like, this kid is insane, bro.
He's the daredevil for a reason.
The daredevil for a reason, like 100%. Like that was a standout moment for me. That was a little bit later in the season, but I remember the first race at Lincoln this year. I want to say the first race at Lincoln when I'm new at photography. I was new at it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I didn't even shoot at Lincoln yet, really. And I think it was it had to be hot laps. And you come in to like entering turn 1. Before turn 1 starts, and you just gas it up and pick the front tires off the ground. It was one of my first cool pictures I ever took. Like, I still have that picture. It's on my Facebook. It's on my website. And I'm like, I watch you during hot laps as much as I watch you during any other part of the night, because they threw the green flag in hot laps, and you're just like standing this car up every single time, and it makes for the badass pictures ever, dude. So like I don't. You have this thing, and like I think if you were like, hey, reflecting upon yourself and your style of driving, I think you're like, if we look at Central PA and who we would compare you to, it's Brian Monteith. I mean, I think
yeah.
Would anybody else agree, like, or disagree with that? Like, I if we look at guys around here and watch you run, whether it's Williams Grove, Lincoln, even Port Royal, there's some pictures I have at Port Royal where you're just, I can't explain it, and it's just different.
We can explain it. Jimmy can explain that. The damn, what race was that? Was it the 50 when we went from like 6th to 1st, so 1 and 2, but just running like 6 car lanes higher than the outside lane on the roll in the heat race? It was insanity. Jimmy almost died that night. You set off into 1, up on the cushion, and drive past like 3 rows of cars. I had to lead off at 2 or something.
I think that was your heat race in the fair opener, I believe, when you won the first race in the 23 car.
Yes, we won that night.
Awesome.
How special was that win? You know, first, you guys just formed that team.
It was huge. I feel like when I first got in, I wasn't bad. I mean, we should have won our first race out, but there, once we got that first win, that is huge for John and Kelly, you know, our car owners. And yeah, I mean, that was a pretty stout field that night too. I mean, you had one there. So, and yeah, I mean, we started like 8th in the heat race. It was, off of a bad draw, and we still won that night, which is pretty crazy. So, no, it was a special night.
You had me fired up, man.
It was right. We were there setting up camp. That's the only reason we were at that race. That's right.
Yeah, I was happy to be there for that.
So that night that you won, that was your first win in 23. So if I have the timeline right in my brain, was there just a week or two before that where you were passing for the lead and destroyed it in 1 and 2? In like lap traffic, you slid someone for the lead, like backed it into the fence.
That would have been after that. Yes, that was the week before.
Right?
Yeah.
I love this. Like, it doesn't sound like something I would.
No, I think it was Gerard McIntyre Jr.
It was the week before. Yeah, that was the week before, and then the next week. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm watching on Flow that night, and you're coming through the field, dude, and you are far and away faster than everybody, and you're just running the Borden line, and G-Mac's doing his job. He did a great job that night, did what he was supposed to do, and he held off the guys that are there every week, and you're just ripping. And the first chance you get to take the lead, you slide the shit out of him and back it into the wall.
That was stupid.
And I was like, I sat there and was like, my guy, it wasn't the last lap yet.
Stupid.
You were fired up. You had the adrenaline going, didn't you?
We would have that race if I wouldn't have done that.
Hell yeah, you might have had a half a lap on the leader if you won that race.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Okay, so that leads me to the next question.
I really did learn from that.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. I promise I'm not just like here to
not just trying to twist a knife in.
Yeah. Since you got into this and you've gone through and progressed through the 27 to the 23, has it been just a time frame of learning and growing? I mean, you just graduated high school.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely has been. People don't realize it is to drive these things and be successful at it and to be the best, It's really hard. Like, they're an insane, crazy machine, and to it. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm, we started really getting rolling at the end last year. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're starting to really hit our stride there, and I think you're going to see a lot of that here. So, no, yeah, to answer your question, it definitely has been a big, me just developing as a race car driver.
And I'll speak for a lot of people in Central PA. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'll speak for a lot of people in thinking that, you jump into 27, you jump into 23, and even though the 23 is sort of a new deal, I think the expectations for a lot of people were a lot higher than what they should have been for you. And you put on a good showing, but when you jump in a 27, right, or a 72, whatever it was at the time, you jump in a car like that, and again, I think people put the expectations higher than they should have been, because you're going to do well, but you still have a lot to learn, and that's okay. And there's going to be nights where it doesn't go great, and there's nights where it's going to be like, oh, that's the kid that we saw win. When I saw you win at Williams Grove that night, when you got out of the car, like, I happened to be there that night, was in victory lane, like, I could just feel it from everybody around, was like, holy shit, we did this. Like,
yeah,
no matter what that field was, I don't care what show it was like, holy shit, this is sort of validation, but that came so fast.
Right.
You're 19, 18. Right. I mean, that's insanity, right? So you're winning races at 18, 19 years old in Central PA.
Yeah.
That shit don't happen, right? How long did it take Brad Sweet to win at Williams Grove in Central PA?
Yeah.
Like, that's not easy to do. So.
Yeah, people don't realize it's super, super tough.
I guess that would be like leading. Like, how hard was that transition going from not only 360s to 410s, but doing it in Central PA, where the locals are about as top notch as you can find a local field that's not an all-star and outlaw field. Like, you didn't just like jump into some random track that has 410s. You jumped into the best 410s that aren't on a touring series.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's why this place has the name it does. Like, be a race car driver, a race fan, or anything, and experience what you can here. Like, which is what makes it so cool.
So does it piss you off when you see Lance Deweese be as fast as he is and barely be on the throttle?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. They got something figured out.
Like, it would piss me off if you're trying that damn hard, ripping, and the guy's just like
literally just like on the
off in
inside
the
waving
distance.
at you.
Like, I would be
Yeah.
pissed. Like, what is happening right now?
Oh, I know. He's the guy. Yeah, I don't know. He's super good. Are super good, and the whole combination just works.
So so as a guy that has the driving style you have, effort 100%, 110% all the time, right? And that's what you do. And I watched you all season long. I've taken photos of you at every track I've been at, and there's never a time where I'm like, well, he's not trying very hard, right? Do you think over time, with the cars right, you get the learning experience that you could drive at 95% and make faster laps sometimes than 110%? Have you ever had
Oh,
that
yeah.
thought of like how does that happen? I'm not saying that you need to do that, because trust me, you're doing fine. I just sit here and I'm a fan with a camera and sit here on a dumb podcast. But like, is that something that goes through your mind as a progression as a driver?
Yeah, no, for sure. To improve on, to get more consistent and get better, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that coming into this year. I mean, and we got the race team being the best equipment, the best guys, the best of everything. Like, I think you're going to see a big improvement on me, and I think you're going to see us winning a lot of races. Yeah, I mean, I think it's our time to shine.
Go ahead.
Just you alluded now a couple times to this year. Really looking forward to it. What's the schedule looking like? You gonna run for points titles around here? You gonna travel a little bit? What's it looking like?
Yeah, the plan is to Williams Grove and Port Royal Championship, and then just hit anything in and around Pennsylvania, along with probably the Knoxville Million, some of the high limit stuff. Really, just anything around here. Any races that are going on, that's what we'll be. But yeah, our weekly deal.
Cool. We have a couple questions here from viewers here. Let's take the first one here. Jaden Bingaman, how was talking to Tony Stewart on iRacing at a young age?
What did I miss here? What am I missing?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how big I was or how long time ago. Basically, what we did was we were on iRacing together, and me and Tony battle. And first he jumped my ass because I jumped the start. Next thing you know, we ended up like battling super hard for like the next 10 laps, and it was at the end. I think there was a lap car that spun out and put us out, and then he's like, I can't remember what he said, but anyways, we just got in this really good battle and talked YouTube.
I remember this. That was you?
Yeah.
No shit.
So
I've
Tony
watched
Stewart
that
has
before I
fought
knew it
Devon
was
Borden.
you, but I didn't. Huh. I've seen that. It went viral.
Yeah, it kind of did.
Oh my god. What's the other one there? So okay, listen, look, we're not a podcast to just do the easy shit. So
Jack Gunter here. When you got to the 23 ride, did you feel any pressure or the need to finish ahead of Anthony? I'm assuming he means Anthony Macri.
I wouldn't say ahead of. I wouldn't say Macri. I felt pressure to perform in general and to win, but I was ahead of Anthony. I just looked at him as another car that I had to beat, but not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine that's tough, right? Like, there's emotions involved there, and I think if I step back and look at that, I think the emotions were more by like people like us than it was maybe in the pit area. Like,
Right.
yeah, was there some things going on, but if it wasn't Central PA and it wasn't like the posse and it wasn't like during the prime time season, the way it all went down, I don't know if it's a thing, but I think because of the fans and the media and the passion and the emotion of what we do around here, I don't know if that would have
Right.
been as big a deal, And I don't, again, as a driver in my brain, I'm thinking I don't give a shit about that stuff. I want to go out and get a checkered flag.
That's
Like,
probably where Devin's at. Like, I don't
like
even give a
who
damn what happened
cares?
over there.
Like,
I'm over here now.
right? I don't care what he does. I got to go race my race and be the best I can for me, And if that's
Yeah.
good enough, then I win.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I looked at it. I just looked at Anthony as another race car I had to beat.
The only difference between Anthony and Lance was he had to go under Anthony and around the top of Lance.
Right. Somehow figure that out.
We got
So,
one more.
Yeah, one more.
One
Ron
more.
Rutherford chimed
Yeah.
in.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Wait
Probably a phone
for him to
call.
come back.
Another
He's probably
phone
getting a
call.
phone call.
Oh, that's okay.
All right, he's back. One
Yeah,
more
I get a
from
phone call, sorry.
See, we knew
one
it.
more from Ron Rutherford. Late to the
Oh, my
party, but
buddy
still
Ron.
trying to figure out why we haven't seen Devon at Mama's Pizza yet.
Oh, I know. I don't even know where it's at. Where is it at, Ron?
It's in
What?
Wellsville. Mama's Pieces of
right near
Wellsville.
Williams Grove, not far from Williams Grove.
I
15
live close to
minutes.
Williams Grove, so I don't know. I'm always looking up food near me, and it never comes up on Google. So
I will
Devin.
meet you there because I live in Williams Grove. I
Yeah,
know where
reach out.
Wellsville is.
Listen, I work 15 minutes from there 5 days a week, my guy. I'll meet up there. We'll go get lunch, and we'll talk to Ron. So we'll just figure out a day when Ron's
I
there.
gotta do that.
All right, we'll do that. So just hit me up. We'll go have lunch. The stromboli, the pretzel stromboli. I'm a fat guy, so the pretzel stromboli is good. I'll just put that out there. That shit
Sounds
is amazing.
glorious, JZ. I'll see you there this week.
It sounds so good.
It's so
Thanks,
good.
guys, for those questions, by the way. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in.
Appreciate all of you. You talked earlier about kind of the conscious decision at Williams Grove there to kind of like, hey, I got to make a splash if I'm going to have a shot at this. I'm in an area where I can get eyes on me.
Yeah.
Have you were you that driver the whole time, or you're like, hey, that's a lot of fun, so that's who I am? Like, if as a driving style, if you could run the bottom like a Fred Raymer of old, I don't know if you ever watched any old videos of Fred Raymer running the bottom, or Alan Crimes, or ripping the top, what would you prefer? What's better for you?
I mean, I want to be that exciting guy that everyone loves. So if I can be just as fast on the top and be exciting, I'm choosing that every time. But obviously if the bottom's faster,
We salute you for that.
you got to be down to the bottom, So like, it's more about just being wherever the racetrack is the fastest, and that's where the best race car drivers are at. So that comes way before anything else. But if I can be just as fast on the top, I'm probably going to the top.
Not to like exclude Williams Grove out of this conversation. Sorry, Chris. I know that's your place. But if you had running the fence at Port Royal or running a heavy cushion at Lincoln, which one would it be?
I don't know. I've gotten to really like Port Royal and Lincoln. I don't know. I mean, it's two totally different styles of racing. Before coming out here, I'd never been on a track like Port Royal or really anything that big at all. Lincoln was always more what we ran back home with big heavy curbs. But I don't know. I've really gotten to like both of them.
So for the season, what you're doing, are you chasing any points titles this year? Did we ask that?
Yeah, he's going Williams Grove, Port Weekly, and gonna go win all the other big shows, basically.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's what he said.
To go win them all.
If other than the I know we talked about high limit a little bit, are you going to travel for any of the high limit stuff other than like the East region kind of coastal stuff?
No, it'll just be like there's a show at Grandview, Bridgeport,
Lernerville.
Lernerville. We'll be at Lernerville. Yep.
Cool.
So what
do you think about that high limit from your perspective? You're maybe a guy who early in the career, maybe not involved as far as organizing, setting up, promoting. What do you think about something like the High Limit in your eyes?
Oh, I think it's absolutely awesome. I mean, you got Brad Sweet and Kyle and, whoever else is involved in it, just trying to grow sprint car racing and make the purses bigger, and I think that's super cool because the amount of money that goes into this stuff is absolutely insane, and there's really just no return on it for the car owners, so it's super cool that they're trying to grow it, and I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And Jimmy, Chris, and we really haven't had like just one of those shows where we kind of talk about this and our ideas and opinions and thoughts on things. But if there's ever anyone who would ever say this isn't good for sprint car racing, is absolutely insane in my mind. I can't imagine that anybody would disagree with that, and maybe other than one certain sanctioning body. So we'll move on from
Correct.
that. First time you were in the 27. Now I'm going to go back to that for just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And you did a 4-wide salute to the fans. What was that like? Did you have a moment where you're like, were you locked in, or were you like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. This is absolutely incredible.
I mean, you try to be locked in, but it is cool looking up in the stands and seeing everyone and realizing that you're in a famous car racing in Pennsylvania. Like, that's a pretty crazy thought, and for it to all become reality was pretty phenomenal.
My last question, and this is the last one for me. This is just going to test your loyalty a little bit, okay? So this is a PA Mafia. No, I'm just kidding. If you come off turn, you take the white flag at Williams Grove and you're leading an outlaw race. Is the pride in winning because it's an outlaw race, or is the pride in winning because you beat the outlaws in PA?
I mean,
it's a trap. This is a trap.
That's a trap. I don't know.
We can all agree on one thing: FTO.
I mean, there's nothing cooler than winning it for the posse, but it's pretty badass winning an outlaw race too. I've been dreaming of that my whole life,
Yeah. And listen, that's not a test, bro. I don't care. I don't expect you to be like, hey, I'm posse, my guy. You're from the other coast of the country.
See, he knows. When he signs up to run the outlaw tour, he's still posse.
For full disclosure, he said that. He said that he is, not us. We didn't make the rules.
He claimed it. We didn't make this up this time.
Right. This is not us.
I have no problem claiming him.
I have his shirt, so it's fine. He's saying about what he says.
Actually, Chris, I'm done. I promise you, I have one more. I had 2 full glasses of this. I'm in a mode. The red car or the blue car? Which one's your favorite in the 23?
That's a good question.
And I'm done.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't really care. I like them both.
What the shit is that?
Such a driver
answer it that way.
That's the driver.
Such a driver answer.
Lot of people really like the blue.
I love the blue, man.
I love the blue.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go with the blue.
Cool.
Fair enough. All right.
Is there going to be any changes going into the next season with the paint?
It'll be all blue. We got all of our cars blue.
Yeah, let's go.
I have 2 questions.
No all white versions. Just saying.
No, Jay-Z, you're the only one that wants all white versions of anything. Put your camera away.
All right.
2 questions. One for real. One's going to be kind of fun. So obviously, you're our first guy that's not from PA, but if you had to pick a race, which one do you want it to be? Anywhere in the country.
To win?
The Eldora Million.
Eldora Million?
Oh, come on. That's
an easy one, man. Nah, it's the right answer, though.
Before it existed.
He wants to run the top to be exciting. That's the place to do it.
Yeah, dude, I could see you going to Eldora, man, and absolutely ripping there, man. I think that track's going to suit you.
Second question,
I'm excited.
and more of a joking note. So we have a friend named Brett Perigo. Is he annoying to you at all? By chance? No.
It would have been better if you said, "Who's Brett Perigo?" Like
that's kind of what his face said.
Who's that?
We don't even know that guy. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he was one of our first guests on the show, and he's a good friend of ours. So,
So I don't know if you saw our intro, but Brett is on our intro to the show every week, and when he finished second at
Port, he had the lead, and we were going nuts. Steve Wilbur passed him in the wingless car there, and he got interviewed anyway. We tried to burn the place down, but Brett said no.
And he shouted us out, like, because we're yelling over the Michael and Flo, Brett Perigo posse. So he shouted us out to Turn 2 Terribles before we were the Turn 2 Terribles, like before we knew kind of like this was going to be a thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So we love Brett. I just wanted to give him some
shout out, Brett Perigo. Real quick, you just got back from Tulsa not too long ago. Your first Chili Bowl. You won your heat. You made your prelim. I know you didn't have the best finish or anything, but how was that experience?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, I don't ever want to miss it again. It was a blast. Like those midgets they're pretty wild. Like, they're close. I mean, they're real close to a 410 sprint car. You know, you gotta have good car control. Because they really are crazy, and they're a ton of fun to drive, especially at the Chili Bowl.
I had a buddy ask me the day after your prelim night, and he said, how did Devon do? I said, Devon ran the Devon line and he passed a bunch of cars. So like your heat race, it was so much fun to watch, man. Like you were just like,
you were gone.
Like, screw it. Let's just put this thing on the lip and let her rip. So like all those cars, even on the cushion, look super like they're loose. Like you're hung out and kind of loose.
Yep.
Is that the best way to drive that car where it can still be fast? Like I can't imagine being too tight is fast at something like that. I mean, was that sort of an adaptation you had to make, or was that just sort of natural, like let it hang out and stay in the throttle?
If my first practice session on, what was it, Sunday, I wasn't great there, and I was kind of driving it too straight my first 4 laps, and then my second session, then I just got it. I just let it hang out, and from that point forward, I felt really comfortable and felt like I was good. So, but yeah, I mean, you can't have those things too tight or can't drive them too straight. Like you got to back them in with the rear tires, and that's just how they are.
And it's funny, like you adapted that quick, because I mean I can see that on we watch it on Flow or wherever, and you can kind of see that even the fast guys are hung out and letting the rear drive the front. We talk about the 410s a lot of times, and we talk about like Lance and some of these guys were straight as fast. Not always you hung out as fast because you're probably spinning the tires. Well, you don't have the downforce, so spinning the tires is actually helping. So it's amazing that you adapted that quickly, and I think maybe being young helps with some of that, and at least having a brain as far as like, okay, I see what works. So even if it's not like normal per se from what you've been used to, you were like, okay, I can go do that. Where I think some guys might struggle changing disciplines like that, even though like the power to weight ratio is pretty strong in a midget, but it's a whole different driving style, and to adapt to that quickly says a lot about kind of like what you got going on up top. And I think that will help you moving forward as you mature and you age and you get more laps and more seat time. So yeah, man, good stuff for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I think we're gonna let you go. We really appreciate you coming out and talking to us. Before we let you go, do you want to give thanks to all those sponsors and all those people that are able to help you get out there on the track?
Yeah, I mean, I really just got to thank John and Kelly Stehman, and Jim and Chris Shuttlesworth, Mike Danner, Jeff Weaver, really just all my guys for making it all happen. And I got to thank Traco and Mountain Ridge Metals, JR Vinagro Hauling, Moose Blocks, Donut Racing Engines, and really just everyone who's always helping us out, get in the car to the racetrack.
Awesome, man. Look forward to seeing 2023 a lot. Every week we're going to be somewhere. We're going to be there. Jimmy and Chris are going to spend a little more time in the pits this year. We'll come by, say hi. I know I've talked to you a few times throughout the year last season, but definitely these guys will be in. We'll come say hi, and hopefully we'll get you back here on a Monday after a race win and talk about that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have
I think
lots of those.
an early
Yeah.
race season outlaw win in March.
Oh,
is
We
a
got
good
some
time for
opportunities in
Devon.
March this year.
It's a good time
Yeah,
for him to
I
come
know.
back.
I know that would be pretty crazy, but
I
I
agree. I
think we
think
can
it's
do it. You know, it's not out of line at all. Like we
no.
could do it,
And
100%.
I think I
I
agree,
hope
and
so.
I think that's a great idea. You should do it. and while being interviewed is definitely say your posse, just to
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I'll be on that mic screaming. You know, we got it done for the posse.
Let's
There we
go.
Good
Let's
enough.
go.
Absolutely,
guy.
no
That-
doubt.
All right.
Thanks
I
for
thank you,
joining
Devon.
us, man. Good luck on your move and good luck in 2023.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Devin.
thank
Appreciate
you guys.
man.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me
sir.
on.
Take care, buddy.
Awesome show. Both guests,
Man.
Devin and Justin. Awesome dudes, man. And thanks everybody for chiming in with some really, really good questions. I like those. And closing thoughts, guys.
Bro, I'm so fired up for race season
Yeah,
now. Like
I'm ready. I'm ready
I'm
to go.
so
now.
hyped. It's only January 23rd. This sucks. I can't do anything with it. And
They
like,
should move the icebreaker up to the end of January instead of the
They
end
should
of
right
just
February.
run
now.
it
Just
tomorrow.
right now. It was 60 last week. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's
come on.
go.
Damn it. No, man, that was awesome. I'm so happy to have both those guys on, and just kind of continues that trend of these younger guys that we've had on for the most part and making a name for themselves here in Central PA and beyond, really. I mean, I can't imagine there's guys not all over the country that I haven't heard of Justin Whittall and Devon Borden at this point. I mean, if you win a race in Central PA, people are like, oh, okay. All right, I got you. So, and both those guys are going to win a lot of races moving forward. And I don't think we've had too many guys on here that aren't going to win races or haven't won races. So
Yeah.
we like winners, man. I'm like Al Davis in this bitch. We
Or
like
Chip
winners. Or is
Ganassi.
that or is that Chip
Chip
Ganassi?
Ganassi.
That's
Anyway,
Same thing.
so-
But Kyle Larson, though, he hired him. He doesn't want it anymore,
That's true. I've heard that.
Chris is
Reliable.
Larson.
Sources.
That's good.
All right. Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, I agree though. I think both are primed to have really good seasons. Like Devin said, that program, you saw it. Him and Justin both ended the season. Were there week in, week out. Fresh start, off season to get ready. I think they're gonna be guys that are week in, week out, threats to win.
I couldn't agree more. I think when Justin says he's looking for that title at Port Royal, I 100% believe him. And now we know that he's going to have to compete with Devin. That's going to be. I think those are going to be two guys. And
Michael Walter, Devon Borden.
I think
Whittall
some of the guys
coming for that ass.
I was going to say, and I could see all three of those guys finishing top 5 in the points at Port.
Think about Port Royal: Mike Wagner,
Yep.
Mike Walter, Jeff Halligan.
Still got Logan too.
Devon Borden, right? Like that points title up there.
It's gonna be fun.
If we talk about points titles, which we don't a lot these days, Port Royal could have themselves a hell of a battle for points this season because more and more guys are going up there weekly, right? And for whatever reason, a points title matters at Port Royal. Now, it might matter some guys in the pits at other tracks, but I don't know if it carries the same weight as Port Royal right now. Like, they got some things rolling up there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, I think the other key thing is it's so many big races at Port Royal. We look, the schedule is dropped. Now the All-Stars aren't coming there, but for the Weikert and the 50, there's still $10,000 to win Coffin Classic and Speed Week. There's still these other races that pay good money that if you run there weekly, you're going to have an advantage. Just like Williams Grove and the guys run their weekly tend to have an advantage in those weekly races. So,
Jimmy, I have a question for you. If you were a driver, what race would you want to win?
Me? Fuck.
Finish one.
Which race in Central PA or anywhere? I guess. Yeah.
I think it has to be the National Open. That one's just so. There's no other atmosphere like the National Open as a fan, and it's a pretty prestigious race. I think that would be it. Tusky 50 would probably be right behind it because it's getting there, but I think it has to be National Open.
Interesting. I know Chris, right? Natty Open.
1, 2's 50, 3's Mitch Smith.
Oh,
I don't care about bullheads.
What about you?
That sounds like you're kind of angry at the bullhead. What happened there?
Nothing. It's just I'm a homer. I'm sorry. I'm not anti-bullhead. It's just
I think for me it would be the Natty Open and the Kings Royal, and then
I was
probably
only
the
talking Central PA here.
Oh
But
well, okay.
I meant
So
all of them.
I would still put Natty over Knoxville
It's
and Kings
personal.
Royal, but I would probably put Kings Royal and Nationals ahead of the 50.
like I know the Knoxville Nationals has such a thing, but
Mhm.
that Kings Royal with the crown and the fireworks and
true.
it's Eldora, I don't know what it is. It gets me more fired up than Knoxville, and I think Eldora is racier than Knoxville, so I enjoy that race more for some reason. I don't know. That's just me. But if I'm doing it in Central PA, the National Open, and then the Gettysburg Clash at Lincoln. And then last would probably be the Weikert because that bullhead is cool. Like
That is pretty cool.
it's pretty cool. Like it's grown on me. Like
I think these drivers have, because a
Clearly,
lot of them have
that's
been
2 weeks in
saying
a
it,
row.
it's
that
had
they're
an
putting out
impact.
there.
Yeah, and I for sure.
Like if I was good, I still think even if we went, I thought nationally the whole time, but I would go National Open, Tuscarora 50, and I mean winning Knoxville would be cool, but like I don't know, something personal. Like for me, if I were to be a race car driver that won here, that would always carry more weight. I say that as a guy that's probably never, or just definitely never going to do it, but
Right, we're not, but yeah,
but
whatever.
like I think that's where I go from, and I think the Mitch Smith was always the big one for me growing up, just because it was the biggest Speed Week show and everything like that. But I'm not anti-dirt classic, just to be clear.
You know
That's
one that
fourth.
one that's would be like not talked about probably a lot when it comes to the prestige and like the notoriety would be the Billy Kimmel now.
Yeah,
Like just personally for me, like I was there that night. I didn't know Billy. I was just a fan. I was there that night. Unfortunately, when they let you stand across the access road in 3 and 4 on the guardrail, that's where I was standing when that happened. It was like 30 yards in front of me. It had a big impact on me as a fan, and now getting to know Jordan and Dakota a little bit, and Jordan was a fan, and like that would be cool. I mean, if I was a driver, I think that would one that would stand out, and I know it does for Jordan. I know it could like how I feel about it, but I can imagine with Jordan, like when we talked to him,
right.
a
And
few
you
weeks
really picked that
back.
up through that interview.
Yeah,
Even to the point when we had, dare we say his name, Dakota on here. He mentioned that same race for that same reason of the impact that Billy had
yeah,
on Jordan. Definitely a cool race. One that I kind of forgot about, but it's always cool seeing that 47 out there,
for sure.
whether it be Jordan or whoever is running that scheme for that race.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, held everybody up enough tonight. Thank you guys for coming in. We're almost 2 hours into this thing. Worth it tonight. Catch us again, man. Go back, check out the episodes, subscribe, follow along, check out for updates, what's coming next. Lots
Share
of
it with your
surprises
friends.
coming, some new stuff. You're going to see us at the Racing Extravaganza. We are going to be there wandering around. We don't have a table or anything. We're going to have some shirts on. Say hi to us. Tell us what you think. If we're idiots, you like it, you want something different, let us know. We're here for open. We want this to be for you, for all of you. As much as it's fun for us, we want other people to enjoy it too.
Absolutely.
So chime in, hit us up, send out some shout outs.
Yep. Keep an eye out for what's coming up in the next couple of weeks here. And thanks again for tuning in.
See you guys.
Have a great night.
Good night.